CVE Gaming.
Man, that's a really hard question.
Sorry, bro. Didn't mean to throw
No,
you
no,
off.
it's okay. Honestly, I don't mind when people get hype and they get overly excited for matches and whatnot. That's fine and dandy.
Right,
But I'm not a real big fan of pop-offs, and
right,
by that I mean like you can do maybe passive or mild pop-off, but nothing to the extreme where you like you curse or
right.
you kind of like offend the other player to the point where it's like you can't blame if you kind of get punched in the face for like saying or doing what you just did, because that's just it's there's no valid point for any sort of pop off like that you make the other person feel very uncomfortable, or you
Right,
you you insult them
right, right,
over a video game in general.
right,
Because at the end of the day, when I win or lose or anything whatever, I always just look at it as a video game. There's no reason for me to like commit suicide or offend the other player, whatever, just because I lost in a video game. That's just completely
silly. It's
uh
just not
yeah,
good.
exactly.
Okay, because I know that there are people that sometimes, and this might be kind of what you're speaking about. There are sometimes people that literally, because it's a video game and because they've won, they kind of like to look down like I'm better than you and you're nothing. And sometimes they like to try and do it very slyly by the way that they'll talk to you or about you. So, for example, when I used to go to tournaments, and the kind of first tournaments I attended, and the first kind of scene I got into was the Street Fighter scene. And when I would be there, I noticed that there was a lot of cliques. And when I would be there with the current group of people that I was there with, it was nothing but love. And we saw people, it was just love, and we wanted to help people out. But you kind of just saw that sometimes people got involved in cliques. And then when people would ask, like, oh, how are you doing in your group? There's no one really here who's gonna bother me, and kind of like you just like, come on man, it's a game, and some people may not spend as much time or have the ability to play the people that you play, and you're literally kind of just talking down on people like they're nothing. And that's what I had a massive issue with,
Right,
and
right.
I think that's the reason why when people say to me, why don't you play in tournaments, I say I much more prefer the energy of actually helping people out and enjoying casuals, because then there's less pressure on the person to perform, and I can just kind of talk to you and you can talk to me, and it's kind of a bit more relaxed. Do you know what I mean? So I saw that there was a certain type of way that people are, and again, you probably hear that or around that, but you may know how to deal with it. But for me, it was a
No,
massive issue, I didn't like, so I took myself out of that. But go ahead.
no, I completely agree with you. A lot of people say that, and also once again, no matter how many things, like for example, in Injustice, like at one point I was winning my weeklies very consistently. Like I had like a big win streak,
Right,
and even so, no matter how many times I will win, I would never I would never I would never say that or I'm winning that I'm winning how you say it, whenever any tournament that I'll go to, I would never say like, oh, I'm winning this much whatever, I'm gonna win this free whatever,
right,
because I'm this good whatever, that this is gonna be a free tournament, or this guy's free, I know I could beat him, or he can't see me. I would never say that, because I never underestimate my opponents, and nobody could win forever, and you can never have that mindset. And some people mistake that. Sometimes they think that I am cocky whatever or whatever the case may be, but I'm actually not. I'm very optimistic, and I'm aware um what am I getting myself into. And I never make such statement like, oh, I'll make sure I will never place under top 8 ever again, or this and that whatever, because that's just you being cocky and and
and that kind of thing, and that's not what
ignorant
you're
and
about.
whatnot.
Right. So sometimes people
Yeah,
might
exactly.
mistake your wins and maybe you not saying much for being, oh, he thinks he's big and something else, and oh, who does he think he is coming in here winning, not really saying much. He thinks he's, you know, then sometimes they can, you know, sometimes people will get offended no matter what you do. If you're quiet, they think, like, oh, who does he think he is being quiet, just rolling around doing whatever. But it's like, sometimes you can't win, depending on some of those people that are there. It's like, if you're winning and you're quiet, oh, he thinks he's too much, he doesn't have to talk to anybody, who just comes in or whatever. You win and you're loud, he's too cocky. You know, you sometimes, depending on the people that you're around, you can't win in some cases, and people will kind of always think what they want to, and you kind of just got to do you, as long as you're, like, again, like, you're not a disrespectful person. Like, you don't come in and say, you don't go to an injustice tournament and say, hey, how you doing today, bro? I'm just winning, bro. Every time I come out, I just win. That's what I do. You know what I mean? You're not that kind of guy. So it's like, you know what I mean? So yeah. So it's like that. Well,
and I don't even like it when people say it for me. So some people come up to me like, oh, you're gonna win this tournament free, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not psychic. I can't really tell you that. I can't really answer that for you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's okay if other people think that, because obviously they have faith, or, you know, obviously they trust your skills as a player. But personally, me, I wouldn't come out of my face and say something like that, whatever, to players or to the community, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go over here and win this free, yeah, because I already know what I'm all about, whatever. I never say anything like that.
Yeah, right. Well, literally, these are going to be my last two questions to you. And again, like I said before, feel free just to kind of add anything else on in between these questions. But literally, the last two questions I have for you, kind of, this one kind of talks about the future of Killer Instinct. And I was wondering, for you personally, what are some of the things you would like to see? You know, let's just go forward, like, being optimistic, right? Like, you're a person who's very optimistic. Let's just think about Killer Instinct still being here in 3 months, 6 months, a year's time from now. What are some of the things that you would personally like to see added to Killer Instinct in the future? Would it be new characters, old characters, maybe a new fighting game, like mechanic that maybe you could say, oh, it'd be really good if they were able to add the ability to do this, or maybe an online practice mode so that people can actually practice online, like that, for example, like you have in other games. What is something like a feature or something that you might like to see added to Killer Instinct in the future?
Okay. Well, I think in fighting games in general, I think what will make it definitely more fun, especially with the online experience, will be team battles. I was a bit disappointed that it didn't have like a team battle. I'm not too sure we're actually gonna get a lobby. Yeah, there's been sources and stuff, rumors going around saying that we're gonna get a lobby. Hopefully we do. But I think lobbies and team battle would have definitely made the online, like, just way much more an experience, because the game is really fun, and, you know, it's fun. It's really good at the Xbox One so far, as the online play is really good, because there's like barely any lag at all to begin with when you fight people from like across the country, or you know, to a different country. But as far for KI, I definitely would have loved it. Would have like at least like a team battle, the lobby, and also like an online training room.
Yes.
That definitely would have made perfect. That would have been more fun, because then you could play with, like, or practice with somebody from across the, you know, from across the country, and you can help them too. Like, oh, let's go to practice online room, and I'll show you, like, what you should do and how you should do it, or how to approach it. Then you just telling them verbally, because maybe they still wouldn't be able to get it.
Yeah.
Or you know, or execute it, so you can just demonstrate it for them. And this way, or whoever, you can just be in training room all day and just learn stuff with your friend and partner or whatever in certain matchups. But yeah, as for new and old characters, I wish maybe they could add maybe 1 or 2 more, like, brand new character, how they did with Sidera. I think that's pretty unique and you know, quite exciting. Personally, I don't like Sidera. I don't know what is it about me. I really don't ever play any female characters. I don't know. I don't know why. Oh, and as for new characters, I hope in season 2 they add, like, the rest of the like Killer Instinct Gold cast, like Tusk. I think they're not gonna add the Gargoyle character, but like TJ Combo, Maya, Kenwoon, All these other characters, I wish that I had them in it. And for the 2 extra characters or 3, hopefully, there's a rumor saying that Shadow Jago will get his own moves set. So hopefully, I'm waiting for that. Because honestly, I like the design for Shadow Jago than the regular Jago.
Yeah.
Like when the game came out, I picked up Thunder first, and I was playing with the other characters a bit, like Glacius and Jago and all these characters. But I ended up liking Jago, but not Jago. I like Shadow Jago. Regular Jago, I don't know. He just doesn't appeal to me. I like more of the Shadow Jago design. So hopefully he can get his move list. But hopefully what else we can get, like I don't know. Maybe what's this guy's name? Thunder's brother. Maybe as like a new character, Eagle. Maybe he could have like his own moveset and be something different, whatever. Like Shadow Eagle, since maybe he was dead and resurrected, or something like something new for the storyline. Or they could just make a completely new character, so something hybrid, anything for at least for the second season. I think that would be pretty unique and fun. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
Oh no, well that's great. If I was to say, just literally was something you just touched on. If you were to say a new character, what would you say right now is missing from the design of a potential new character? So for example, I know that one of the guys that I always play with, he would just love a boxer, and a lot of people want TJ combo. Like with a completely new character, what is a character that you might say you'd like to see? Like, would it be like a cross kind of like martial artist? How would it? What is a character kind of like design that maybe has never been in Killer Instinct that you might say, oh, it'd be really cool if they had a character like this with this kind of weapon or something like that? Do you have any ideas on that, or no?
Well, that would be pretty tough, because to be honest, the different character style that they already have in it is quite unique and different. And like they go by like the characteristic of these characters. Like for example, Saberwolf. He's a freaking giant wolf that's super fast, good damage, good normals, because he has very long arms. And then just his fighting style with the slashes and the running stance, which is pretty cool. Like who would have figured that Wolf will actually have like a running stance in the game and run at you like on 4 legs and attack you that way. Let me see. Thunder is like super cool too. Like who would have thought that this guy would go around doing his 360 motions while doing his little Indian chant, which is pretty unique. Just all the characters. They all like. I'm very appreciative how they created these characters and made them fight like the way you would think that they would actually fight, like in an animated way. Jago with the fireballs and flying kick. But it's like, as a new character with a fighting style, I would like to see. I think they pretty much got that covered, because like if you want to see like karate and stuff, you have Kim Woom. She's a martial artist.
Yeah, you're right.
If you want to see like some capoeira, jungle fever thing going on, you have Maya fighting style for that. If you want to say you want a robot, you have Fugo. So they pretty much
Have it covered.
They have a really good idea, on the characters, with the way they fight. So they pretty much on the right track. With also like Glacius too, like this liquid alien that he deforms and forms these sharp objects and all these weird things, whatever, during the fight. So they're on the right track. So I really can't say anything that I would like to see, because their mindset on how they build the game, like I'm like grade plus S for it, because I love it.
Right.
I think it's phenomenal.
It is very unique characters, and definitely thank you for giving me your feedback on that. Okay, down to this last question, then we'll finish up. If you could give one piece of advice to a beginner, intermediate, or advanced Killer Instinct player who wants to get into tournaments or become a tournament player, or literally overall just wants to kind of start to improve in the game, what would you say are some of the things that they need to do? What's some advice you would give to them, be it practicing advice or just kind of creating a scene, or what would be the advice you'd give?
Well, that's a pretty easy question, because I don't really have to say much Just go
Okay.
to the dojo. The dojo teaches you all how to play the game.
Right.
Nah, but all jokes aside though, besides the dojo, because the dojo does teach you the basics. It teaches you basically it teaches you the mechanic of the game.
Right.
Um, don't get discouraged on when people lose, because what I see is people get very discouraged when they lose, especially when they lose consistently, and
Right.
they're not getting the results that they want. You gotta question yourself, what is it that you're doing wrong, and why you're getting hit by certain things. Is it because you're lacking the defense for it? You're not reacting to it. Um, are they combo breaking you too oftenly? Why is that?
Right.
And even if they are combo breaking you too much, you gotta realize or notice why they're doing it. You should do encounter breakers here and there, often to get them scared. Um, and even for the people that are up and coming or doing well in the game, even if you're not getting the results that you want, if you're losing, always go back and see why you're losing. Always look over your videos and question what's going on. Why did your opponent do this in this sort of situation? Or why didn't you just wait and see if he was going to try to do anything? Because a lot of players, like I said, I'll categorize certain players.
Right.
Like I said earlier, about people that are nutty, people that are not shy to do reversals when they have any given chance. And then you have some people they have the execution, but then having the execution, they lack everything else. Like, they'll just rush you down. They don't care if you reverse or not. They don't care. They're not trying to bait you out. They're not trying to play um, the baiting game to see if you reverse or not and then punish you. They just have phenomenal execution, but they'll keep rushing you down over and over because that's just their playstyle. They're super aggressive, and that's a bad thing just to have because in a way, people that do a lot of reversals and whatnot, you're gonna get hit by them. Then you're gonna frustrate yourself because then you're like, oh my god, this guy's random. He's just doing dragon punches or whatever. But then you're not thinking it like, but you're not baiting him, so you're not giving him a reason to stop doing it because you're gonna keep pressing buttons over and over.
Right.
There's some people that just like to zone. They're super defensively. They just want to zone no matter what. They just want to get away from you, zone, and be too defensive. And that's another thing is good and bad because then by the time somebody gets in on you, most of these people lack the defense to try to block everything because they're so accustomed to just running away, backdashing, and just trying to zone, as opposed to just having a good inside game also, than just having to be full screen, mid screen, spacing you out,
Right.
and whatnot. So these are everything you got to take account for, and you got to try to implement them into yourself if you really wanna go far.
Right. 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 So thank you very much for the good advice, and I think one of the most important things that you said, I think just about losing in general, is literally see it as a chance to better yourself. Not that you're terrible, not that you can't ever win. Don't beat yourself up. Look at your loss and say, why did I lose? Question yourself. Question why somebody was able to do something to you. And I think that's important in general in any game, but I definitely probably can see how important that must be if you're maybe entering tournaments and are going to a regular tournament in your area and maybe you're not getting the results that you want, not losing that faith and kind of just hanging in there, because it's usually when you lose the faith, and if you'd stayed, you possibly could have broken through and learned something. But if you just give up and lose the faith in your losses,
Right. If you don't mind, earlier you asked me a question about what would I like to see from the community to grow and
yeah, be it good or bad
and whatnot. Yeah, the good thing about the community is it's definitely fun. It's a definitely good learning experience. It's a good experience overall in general. If you want to go and meet different people from different countries, states, different personality, it's really good. I would recommend everybody to get out of their lazy bum butts or out of the busy schedule, life, whatever, just to make at least one arrangement, to attend one major, at least just one out of the whole year. I'm pretty sure you can plan it so ahead 3, 6, 4 months, whatever. Especially if you're into gaming and you compete, to make the sacrifice to try to go to one of these events for one weekend and see what it's like, whatever. Because it's definitely quite an awesome experience, and you probably won't like it as much, or you probably will like it even more, and then you might try to make sure you come out to these events. Because the way that I see it's more like it's like a it's like a bootleg family reunion, and by bootleg I mean these people obviously are not your family, but at all these events after a while, if you go to every one of them or most of them, you start seeing the same people. So then you start getting cool with them,
Mm.
and you start getting familiar with them. So it becomes like a bootleg family reunion, and you know you get to know everybody and whatnot. One of the things that I do wish that the community will improve on is the how do I say this? One of the things I wasn't a big fan of from what I learned from all the fighting games now that I play, it's it's I guess how do I say this? It's like when people start like when it comes to like the internet talking and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have like a lot of different opinions, and they say like a lot of like negative things about like, oh, so and so only won due to this or that, or this character did this,
Mm-hmm.
or blah blah blah. Um, just a whole bunch of things, whatever, that can get pretty a bit of just annoying to read upon sometimes.
Right.
And or for example, even when other players will say like, oh, this so and so is not relevant because he hasn't won any major or anything like this,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and this is one of the things. Since you're from the UK, you're probably gonna be familiar with this. With Reinhardt, you're familiar with him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Reinhardt, I will agree with him on this because he said this about how just because this guy doesn't win a major, it doesn't mean that he's bad. It doesn't mean that he's not good as somebody that's winning a major.
Mm-hmm.
Because due to their character, due to whatever, or due to the brackets, or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is that it shouldn't. Winning a major, somebody that wins a major, shouldn't mean that they're the best by default. Just because you don't win doesn't
Right.
mean that you're bad. Because this guy, I could see him play. He could play me or play anybody, and he could probably mop me up. And that other person that I can't beat, he could do it. Whatever. But it doesn't mean that he's bad just because he doesn't win majors. You get me?
Yeah.
People have this mentality where it's just because if you don't win a major, that you're a nobody, that your opinion shouldn't matter,
Yeah.
that you're not a good player because you're not X and X who's winning majors or tournaments, whatever, and so on forth, whatever. But that's one of the things that I really wish that the community will improve on. Get along more all together and
Mm-hmm.
be more open-minded,
Yeah.
more than to just seeing by who they're seeing on the screen or winning these tournaments and whatnot.
No, I completely agree with you, bro. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, because honestly, at the end of the day, especially for me, I compete and do most of all this. Um, I appreciate any fans that I do get or people that do follow me. I appreciate that 100%. I'm very grateful of that. But I don't do it because I'm trying to be the best in the world. Or I don't do it because I'm trying to make the other top players or to acknowledge me or anything like that. I just do it because I love competing.
Right.
I don't know why, but just something about it. It just drives me to just go out there and compete with other people. The thrill of it, of competing with other players, especially with like other really good players, that makes you. How do I explain? Like for example, when I play like Filthy Rich and Killer Instinct, I would say probably he's one of the very few players that I honestly smile when I play him because of like how hype and intense the matches are.
Right.
And fighting game is like chess, but just chess on the go. Like you got to think immediately on the fly as you're being put in certain situations, what you want to do immediately. So it's really fun, man. Like, especially to Filthy Rich. Big shout out to him.
Mm.
But yeah, I just really wish that players would be more open-minded and more. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
more,
I understand where you're coming from.
more, yeah, like more altogether than to just be judging some players or whatever or people just because you don't win anything, of course, or because you don't play as high and this and that, whatever. I personally always thought that was kind of wrong,
Yeah.
but um, hopefully, slowly the FGC is growing and it looks like is getting better, and hopefully, it stays on the right track.
No, definitely. I completely agree with you there. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Because I don't want to cut you off. Do you know what I mean? In mid talk.
Honestly, that I could think of at this moment.
Yeah.
No, not really. I mean, if anything, I'll give a big shout out to RG for picking me up and giving me the opportunity to travel to most of these events, and basically whatever events I want to go to, whatever they'll book my flight, fly me out. Basically they take care of me like I'm family, and I'm very appreciative of that. And um, if it wasn't for them, I probably would have not been able to go to most of these events and whatnot. So yeah, big shout out to them. Filthy Rich also for being like, he's a community manager, but honestly, I really respect this man a lot because as a community manager, as a top player, somebody of his status, he still reaches out to the community and talks to you and play with you, interacts with you, doesn't judge you, doesn't, he's a really good guy, man. I really wish more people would be more like him. Also, one more little shout out to Crazy Dominican and Maxter, and even his little his little brother, even though he can be quite a handful sometimes. But big shout out to them, for me playing with them in Injustice, because Injustice is my first NRS game. I never really play NRS games.
Yeah.
So when the game first came out, I definitely grinded out a lot with Maxter and Robin. Like we would actually break night just playing it out, whatever, sometimes and stuff, because how much fun we were into the game.
Right.
But
That was good times.
But yeah, that's about it.
Alright, bro. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to give me this interview out of your busy schedule, and I wish you every success in everything that you do, tournaments wise, to anything that you're doing business venture wise. And again, just for people who might not know, RG stands for Revolution Gaming.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Just
about
no,
that.
no,
Yeah,
just so people know. Do you know, because like RG, who's RG? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, well, shout out to them, and also shout out to everybody that you mentioned and yourself. And thank you very much for giving me this interview. It's been very insightful, and I know that people will appreciate it. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, man. Just one quick thing before we go. If anybody has any questions, want to get some games in, or whatever the case may be, just follow me on my Twitter. Double L Rico Suave, double L, and just shoot me a tweet or anything, whatever, and I'll be more than happy to answer you and get at you about it.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you very much for that, bro. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening, and we hope you've enjoyed it. Take care, and we'll see you in another video. Bye for now.